Ladies and gentlemen, WrestleMania Night 2 is officially in the books. And I just barely got home. I raced home from my parents' house. I know I've got the half stash going on. It's going away later tonight. And when I shower, and when I'm done this, I hate getting showered up, then recording, and getting sweaty again. It's a nightmare. I just hate doing that. And I know I've got some acne. It gets like that when I get stressed, and the move has kind of had me a little bit more stressed, both physically and mentally. So I understand I look like a wreck. Let's just get that out of the way. I know I didn't really mention it last video. Just throwing it out there now. Now, let's just jump right into this because I recorded for way too long yesterday. So, let's start out here, okay? So, the night starts out with, obviously, the cold open, and then the America the Beautiful. And tonight, the show started out with Triple H coming out, and he says a brief thank you to the fans, and welcomes us to WrestleMania Night 2. Then he leaves his boots in the ring, and it was pretty hard to watch. The thank you was essentially as brief of him saying thank you. He said maybe 2 or 3 sentences, but it was pretty short. But it was pretty sad to see because just he didn't get a final match. He didn't get to end it on his terms. But the problem is he nearly died. So right now, at least, wrestling is too big of a risk. And it sucks, but oh well, what are you going to do? That's a part of the business. Eventually, you will have to retire or pass away. And it sucks, but it's the nature of the business. So it should be less of a, oh man, that's too bad for him. It should be more of a, hey man, he gets to celebrate the rest of his life with his family. He narrowly escaped death. He now is still alive and he's enjoying life. He's breathing happy. He's breathing in general, so it does kind of suck to see him go. Especially even for me, who's a younger wrestling fan, he's all of our childhood heroes. He's been a huge public figure in the wrestling community forever, and everybody looks up to him. So it's sad to see him go, but it's what I hear. The analogy I kind of can think of is it's almost like saying goodbye to a sibling going off to college. But yeah, kind of a sad note to start off, but we did jump right into the action, and we got the Raw Tag Team Championship Triple Threat match, which was RK Bro, Street Profits, and American Alpha. Sorry, Alpha Academy. I keep wanting to say American Alpha. This was a pretty good match. Obviously, it was very fast-paced. There was a lot of hard hits. Montez Ford, I'm convinced, is a bird, because that guy just flies. When his feet leave the ground, he's 20 feet in the air. That's what I see every time that man jumps. He is so good, and it is incredible, his talent. It really is. By the end of this match, saw Matt Riddle hitting an RKO, who was it to? To Montez Ford, and then Randy Orton hit one to Chad Gable, and that was it. 1, 2, 3, new Raw Tag Team Champions. So, hey, thumbs up. Good match. Everything went really well. Everybody just looked their absolute best, and that's all you can really ask for. So next we had Bobby Lashley versus Omos. So here's the deal with these type of matches. Omos is what you would call green. If you don't know what that means they are new to the business. They are fresh. He went from playing basketball to professional wrestling, and he's a very, very big man. Big men oftentimes have a harder time getting around the ring, aside from a few here and there, but, it's just the way things go. That being said, Omos fucking killed it. Him and Lashley, they did really well. Lashley hit a spear from behind at one point, which was kind of odd, but it looked effective, It seemed to work just fine. Omos looked like a monster, but Bobby got to look like a powerhouse too, lifting him up. The snap suplex to Omos just was picture perfect. Everything just hit really great. There was a little bit of a scare where Omos has Lashley. Oh, God. Sorry, I forgot my microphone was there. Where Lashley is up in the air. Omos has him up in the air, and he throws him into the turnbuckle. And Lashley was just high enough that when he went back, he smacks the back of his head off of the ring post grate, which is the top flat part of their ring posts. So here's the deal with that. There have been several injuries and mishaps in matches related to that. Beth Phoenix, for example, she got the back of her head cut open very badly. I believe it was during the Women's Royal Rumble. In the same sort of way, kind of. And a lot of the times it results in people being kind of out of it for a minute or two, maybe having to stop the match early. But these guys, they kept going, and it didn't seem like they missed a beat. It didn't seem like anything was on the fly. It seemed like, they just did it, They just kept going. They kept trucking, even though Lashley did almost probably maybe even did get a concussion. And they just kept trucking along. And Bobby Lashley came out victorious, but Omos ended up looking like a powerhouse, and they got to really show off his ability because he's not a bad wrestler. He's just new. So there's obviously weak points, and everybody's, got weak points throughout their entire career. Nobody's ever perfect as a wrestler. You can be close to it. For example, I would say AJ Styles, to name one of many. Of course, he's not the only one. But that's just something that a lot of people don't understand, that if I say that they've got some weak points, it doesn't mean I'm criticizing them or saying they're bad. It means I'm saying that just like everybody else with every field of whatever you're doing, whether it's wrestling, YouTube, working a day job, like working in an office, working in a grocery store, there's always a way to do better. So considering all of that, I thought the match went really well and I was really pleased by it. So that is another thumbs up for me. Next up was probably the most interesting match of the night, maybe even both nights. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. And I don't know, man. I like comedy wrestling, I like violence, I like props. But I also like technical wrestling and I like stiff kicks and shit like that. They did all of that here. Johnny Knoxville's, coming out like the dork he is in his weird ass get up for his gear. He's coming out, and obviously, there's going to be some dumbass stunts, but he's kind of goofing it up, but he also did take it seriously. He did some really just some good wrestling. And, what he did was very basic stuff that just about anybody in the business could do, in or out. But, he did really well with it. It's not like any individual move is super easy until you've done it at least a couple of times. So I'm sure he took it very seriously, even though a lot of it was props and comedy. He took the wrestling aspect very seriously, which is really all you can ask for a celebrity coming in for a match. Throughout the match, Wee Man, it's just all of the guys from Jackass Forever, the entire crew, they all came out. Steve-O was the only one who wasn't there, but it was really funny. I loved watching Wee Man do the body slam to Sami Zayn because it was just, I don't know, there's something funny about midgets slamming big people, like Hornswoggle slamming John Cena, and that's not like being like, they're small, so it's funny. It's like, no, it's I love it because it's funny because of how impressive it is. Like, those guys will pick up a guy twice their height, twice their size, and they'll just throw him. Like, it's honestly kind of scary, to be honest. And at the end of the match, it did come down to a couple of... actually, before I get to that, my favorite moment of the match was when Johnny Knoxville pulls a bowling ball from under the ring, and he throws it at Sami Zayn right in the nuts. And it was just the funniest thing ever, because there's no way to, block that. You just have to take it and just, hope for the best when you see that thing rolling at you. And he also took a mannequin boot to the balls from a little contraption that they had made. And I'm not really sure how they did it, but it had a lever and a little foot thing. And if I can find a picture, I'll put it up. But I don't know. We'll see. But it was interesting, to say the least. And the match ended with Sami Zayn getting trapped in a giant mousetrap. Johnny Knoxville pulled the lever, and at first it didn't go, but they did end up getting it, and it folded onto Sami Zayn. Johnny Knoxville pins him. 1, 2, 3. Johnny Knoxville wins his, I was going to say pro wrestling debut, his WrestleMania debut, because he did show up to the Rumble. Next, we had the Fatal 4-Way Tornado Tag Team match, whatever you want to call it, for the Women's Tag Team Championships, and we had Sasha Banks and Naomi, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler, Carmella and Selena Vega, and Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. And this match was pretty good. There was a lot of high spots. I don't think there was much that was off about it. I think for the most part it was pretty much just a pretty solid match. And it's one of those where it wasn't like super crazy, but they did enough cool stuff. It's like, I could see them saving some of these spots and doing them at Mania instead of on a weekly show. So, it was pretty good. I was satisfied with it. That gets another thumbs up from me. And next we had AJ Styles versus Edge, and this match was just an instant classic. This felt like the Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins of tonight, because just everything hit so perfectly. They both just got to pull out every single move in their arsenal, and they got to pull out some really cool stops, and it was just so good. It was so damn entertaining. It was so much fun. I will note, though, AJ Styles' cheek was bleeding during his entrance, it was very weird. Very, very weird. I'm not sure why, but it was. And it seemed to be fine. He didn't get busted open more than that during the match. I'm kind of curious as to how it happened. And I'm sure we'll find out within the coming days. But as of right now, as of recording this, I don't know how it happened, but I was kind of interested by it. And we did get a cool moment at the end of this match, where Damian Priest came out and distracted AJ Styles from hitting it was the phenomenal forearm. Yes, I was going to say the 450 splash. That is not correct. It was the phenomenal forearm. And so Damian Priest shows up. He doesn't do anything or attack Styles. He just sits there and looks at Styles, distracts him. Styles looks back at Edge, goes to hit the phenomenal forearm, but midair, Edge catches him with a spear. 1, 2, 3, match over. Damian Priest gets in the ring, kneels at Edge's side, and they raise each other's arms up, and that was that. And I think we're seeing a new team, maybe even a new faction if they want to add more people. And I don't know. As soon as I saw it, I was like, it works so well. It just works so well. The new heel character for Edge, Damian Priest turning heel because he's better as a heel in the face. The gear, the gimmicks, it just lines up so good. And I was like, this is cool. Next was New Day versus Ridge Holland and Sheamus. And I don't know. I thought this was dumb. Sheamus and Ridge Holland should not have won here, or at least not the way they did. It was a roll-up for a victory. It was so boring and bland, and it was short, so they couldn't tell a story. Pete Dunne's Butch makes me want to put a bullet in my skull, and it just doesn't work. But I wanted to mention it because, well, A, obviously it's a part of the fucking card, and second of all, New Day's gear, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston were both wearing singlets in honor of Big E, which is an awesome nod that they've been doing that. And I really hope for a speedy recovery for him. I hope he gets back soon. But, I mean, if worst case scenario and he can't come back, he will be in next year's Hall of Fame, guaranteed. And that's only a worst case scenario. How many times have we seen people come back from neck injuries? It's pretty much a regular at this point. You get a neck injury, even if you're gone for a few years, you're coming back. So, and he's a tough son of a bitch. So, let's hope he comes back. I hate that I had to report on an injury 2 nights. I know Big E's happened a while ago, a couple of weeks ago, but like, I had to talk about Rick Boog's injury for last night. Now here I am talking about another one. It sucks, but they'll be back. Guaranteed. Next was Austin Theory and Pat McAfee. This was weird. The match itself was very good. I was highly entertained by the match. I thought it was great. Vince coming out and introducing Austin Theory and being like there at ringside the entire time. I was like, this is cool. This is really good. The match itself, like I said, was really good. Nothing to complain about. Pat is a fucking animal. When he fucking is on the top rope, gets thrown off and he does the backflip, lands on his feet, jumps back up to the top rope without using his hands, and does the avalanche, well, I would say the avalanche suplex. It's a superplex. And it always looks so good. It's really cool. And I love when he does that spot. It's always fun. Pat ended up winning the match. I don't remember how exactly, and it only happened like an hour ago, but whatever. But then, in a weird turn of events, Vince was mad at Austin Theory. Then Pat McAfee challenged Vince to a match. Vince took off his tie and his shirt and had a tank top on and his suit pants. And then he kind of just moved out of the way every time Pat ran at him because it was an actual match between him and Pat. But Austin Theory got interfered a few times, and even though the ref saw, he couldn't do anything about it because it's Vince McMahon. What is he going to do? You can't stop the match. Vince ended up winning, and It was weird. You know, like, it was fine. I had nothing wrong with it. And matter of fact, I kind of enjoyed it. But it was weird as hell. But that wasn't even the end of it. Because, oh, God. Because then, as Vince and Austin were celebrating, Stone Cold Steve Austin's music hits, and he comes out, drinks a beer with him, starts with giving Austin Theory a beer. Obviously, partway through, he stuns him. Like, asks Vince, he's like, hey, you wanna have a beer with me? They have a couple of beers. They have one. I think they had to go to have a second one. And then he stunners Vince, but Vince kind of fell over like 4 times. You know, like when an old person falls, or somebody who's like trying to verify that they get knocked down as they're falling, and they just fall in slow motion, and it just takes them forever. That's what it was like watching Vince fall every time he got grabbed by Stone Cold for the stunner. For the stunner, he kind of just fell. It looked kind of weird, but I mean, it was entertaining. In a bad way, but it was entertaining. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm satisfied with it. But it was just a weird segment, a good match, a weird segment. But I mean, who cares? It was fun. I enjoyed it. And next, we had the main event, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns to unify the championships, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and the Universal Championship. Now, this match is very reminiscent, or at least the build-up reminded me a lot of the WrestleMania 34 main event when it was Brock and Roman. And it went on for about an hour. It was way too long of a match. It was a finisher fest, but not in a good way, where it kept you on your toes. It was like, literally just kept hitting the finishers over and over and over, and nobody could get pinned. And it was hard to watch. It was a pain. And that match really tainted how I viewed that show. Like, I went from like a 90% like to the show to like probably 40. I'm not going to say that low, but I would say probably about a 50. Like, it dropped me pretty low for how much I enjoyed that show from that one match alone. And just sending the fans home shittily, I'm not happy. I hated it. But thank God that is not what happened here. This match was entertaining as hell. And it was everything that I wanted it to be. The only thing I would have wanted to change would have, in fact, been if Brock won. But Roman won, even with a low blow and hitting Brock with the title. That couldn't keep him down. When Roman did finally win, he did finish clean. The Usos didn't interfere. So as much as I wanted to see Brock win, I'm okay with it. I thought it was a decent finish. The match, the story still works. If Roman's not dropping it at Mania, when's he dropping the belts? I don't know. And who's it going to be against who's tougher than Brock Lesnar? Unless they're going to play it off for a full year and have The Rock be his opponent next year to win it for one last run for him. Because that's been in speculation for about 3-4 years now. Is that going to happen? I have no fucking clue. Probably not. Maybe, but we'll see. But I don't know. I just really hope that the story comes to a close for Roman's title reign correctly. I think there's a lot of ways they could do it wrong, but there's a couple of ways at least that they could do it right. So let's hope that they do it the right way. They've been on a fucking roll lately, and WrestleMania was just stacked from top to bottom, and I just really hope to see that all these storylines continue and live up to the potential that they all have. But yeah, that was WrestleMania Night 2, and the conclusion to WrestleMania 38. And next year we're in Hollywood for Mania, so that's cool. We're gonna see what that brings. There's definitely gonna be some celebrity appearances as always. I don't know. I'm just really psyched about where WWE's going, especially with Cody. I'm really excited. I can't wait to watch Raw tomorrow. I probably won't put up a video for that, but we'll see. I am gonna tune in. I will be working while it is on, so let's hope I don't miss anything big. I may literally just have to put in an AirPod during the entire 5 hours I'm at work, just so that I can watch Raw when it comes on. Thankfully, I'm only at work for 2 hours of Raw, so there's that. But we'll see if I do that or not. I'm not really sure, but that is the end of WrestleMania. So, I don't know. I want to just give this a thumbs up, I mean, it's definitely one of the better ones. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch Mania 33 before I can decide if this is my favorite or not, but it's definitely up there. WrestleMania 33, as of right now, before comparing the two, hands down my most favorite WrestleMania. And that being said, this one was really good. I really liked 35. 36 and 37 really weren't that bad. 37 was a little bit more lackluster than it could have been. 36 was, it has to be judged individually because it was the COVID era where there were no fans and it was all pre-taped. So you have to judge that by itself. You can't judge that along other WrestleManias. But I am also just a huge fan of pro wrestling in general and WWE in general, especially like the older stuff too. The newer stuff I haven't enjoyed as much in the last 2 to 3 years, but you know, I've found my time watching it. So overall, I think this was definitely one of their better ones, at least in recent years. And I hope that they can keep up the momentum that they have, especially with Cody now. Stone Cold, even if he doesn't want to come back full time, there's a lot of opportunity there, especially with selling his new beer. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing what happens next. So with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys checked out the Night 1 recap. Check it out if you haven't. Check out episode 2 of the podcast, which is up now on the podcast channel. The Jackson Supercast should be in the description. If not, just look up Jackson Supercast. You should find both episodes. Check out both of them. I have a third coming out very soon. I know I always say stuff's happening soon, and oh, there goes a fuzz. And it almost never does, but I'm actually getting stuff moving with this now. It's just a matter of, at this point, finalizing dates with the people who I've gotten on board. But anyways, enough rambling. I do this at the end of every single video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about WrestleMania in the comments of this video. And same in the Night 1 recap. And we'll see what happens with wrestling. I've got a lot more gaming content, wrestling-wise. And a lot more gaming content in general. A lot of wrestling content in general. A lot of vlogs coming out soon. Some sketch videos that I've been kind of thinking about giving a shot. We'll see how that goes. I'm not sure yet. But I have a few cool projects going on behind the scenes, so check that out. Check out all my wrestling matches if you haven't seen them. I got more coming up very soon. I'm wrestling in May the next time that I know of as of right now. Things will be updated as they go. But that is enough for today, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.